Hi folks, welcome back into another edition of This Week in Pearl. Again, I'm your host, Frank Hutton, and now we are actually going to go straight to one of our favorite foundations that is right here in the city of Pearl. I am joined today by a wonderful individual by the name of Mr. Jarvis Ward. Jarvis, welcome.
Frank, it's a huge delight to be sitting here with you, especially since I used to sit in a sanctuary in Jackson with you some years ago.
Some years ago, right? Some years ago. But we're glad to have you on. We want to talk about Pearson Foundation, but before we get there, tell me a little bit about you and Mama and them and all that. Introduce yourself to our audience.
Fantastic.
Who is Jarvis Ward?
Yes, Jarvis Ward is a servant of Jesus Christ. God has set me apart for the gospel to go and make disciples. I experienced what the Bible called the new birth in 1983. Wow, sounds like a zillion years ago.
Tell it on yourself.
Yeah, whatever it is. Okay, I was an imp, no. But through college, through campus ministry, and came to know the Lord, and then got married to my wife, Brendolyn. This year we're 42 years.
Wow, congratulations.
And we, out of that union, 5 children. 4 daughters, 1 son, and they mostly grew up here in Mississippi. We were originally from Memphis. I moved here in 1990, actually to be the camp director at Camp Pioneer. And so the Lord, a number of transitions, and we'll talk about that maybe as we go into the journey. But God has blessed our marriage. God has blessed our family beyond anything we deserve. We have 6 granddaughters and 1 grandson.
Wow.
And everybody's spread out. Son in Denver, daughter in Harlem, daughter or son-in-law in D.C., 2 daughters in Dallas. So
wow.
Everybody's
all
spread
out.
Oh, everybody's spread out.
You're
That includes my grandbabies are also spread out. So,
well, all right. So help me get. How did we get to Pearson Foundation? Help me out here.
I was with the U.S. Luzon Committee, which is DBA, doing business as the Mission America Coalition. The U.S. Luzon came out of the International Luzon, which was started in 1973. Dr. Billy Graham, Dr. Bill Bright, on world evangelization, and each country then set up their own Luzon Committee, the U.S. Luzon Mission America. So I was first executive director of Mission Mississippi, and doing some of the racial reconciliation work around the central Mississippi area. And one of the men who kind of bumped into that over in Florida and in Minnesota kind of reached out and said, we're trying to expand our national team and would love for you to come and be a part as a national facilitator of city community ministry. And that's basically forming city partnerships. And that was, I was there for 16 years after Mission, Mississippi. And I just began to have a desire because I went from being what we call a practitioner, you're practicing this stuff, and became more of a theorist. I was coaching pastors, we're bringing leaders into cities together, and I was running across a lot of great ideas. God was doing some fantastic, still is, fantastic stuff in cities and communities all across the country. And I said, man, if I ever want to go back to Mississippi, I was already living here, but go back and do ministry, that, I'd like to take that idea. Oh, wow, that idea, I would love to kind of take that idea. And it was sitting across from the founding board chairman of the Pearson Foundation. We weren't there to talk about Pearson Foundation. We just we were buddies.
Right.
And he basically said, Jarvis, help us. You know folk around here. Help us find somebody who can come and basically take over and restart Pearson. I was actually praying about wanting to come back and be more local.
Okay.
And it was like, ding, 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 that went off. Is that the opening to come back here? And the big test was that I'm on a national staff now. And Pearson was it was about bone dry.
Sure.
And so it's like, if you believe God is calling you,
take a leap of faith.
And so honestly, it was a huge jump. I wouldn't even mention what was. I mean, honestly, it was really bone dry.
Sure.
And it was a step of faith. But yeah, I was believing God was calling me. So much of my journey, even when I came to Mississippi, brought my family. At that time, we had 4 children. Back in 1990, it was a step of faith to come over. There was no guarantees with the role at that time with Camp Pioneer, late Dr. Bingham, and it was a step of faith.
Sure.
And God honors
faith
in Him.
Yes.
Not faith in my faith,
Right.
but faith in His faithfulness.
Sure. And so here you are.
Right here, and we began to trust God to use us. And out of that, a number of really special things have come about.
Right. Okay. So this year we're celebrating our 25th, right?
25th.
Right. So tell me a little bit about the 25th anniversary celebration.
Well, if you've been doing something for 25 years, if you've been involved in over the years, abstinence programs, drug addiction recovery programs, fatherhood initiatives, parenting classes, parent night out, summer reading program. If you've been involved in those things, some things have happened in the community. And God has been doing some really special things, a lot of ways quietly, a lot of ways very boldly too, through the Pearson Foundation. And so when Joe Pridgeon, Elder Joe Pridgeon, and the founding board members, when they began this in January of 2001, they wanted to, the Pearson is an acronym, that it's a name from the community that it's located in, but it's bigger than the community, and we reach beyond, as you know, the community. But the people employing available resources to strengthen our neighborhoods. People employing, it's an acronym. Available resources to strengthen our neighborhoods, and we do that through what we call a prayer, care, share lifestyle approach. Praying for, caring for, and sharing, both in word and in deed. And so that is the transition. And so for 25 years, we have been practicing that. And so what assets do we have in the community? Gather those assets, marshal those assets, and then kind of, leverage those with partners who have a heart for particularly want to see Pearl and the greater metropolitan area positively impacted, particularly children and families. And so that's what we're celebrating. We're celebrating 25 years of God's faithfulness, changing lives and transforming communities through all of the various programs that He has allowed and the lives that have been impacted. There's some great stories out of Pearson of individuals who've come from some rough spots.
Well, I was going to say, and I think we have this flyer, we're going to put it up on TV for people to see it. The one of the things you talk about is respond to stubborn, use the word stubborn social needs by equipping low-income and at-risk youth.
There are some very stubborn issues that are not unique to Mississippi.
No, of course not.
They're just here in the culture, in the nation.
One of the things,
just in general. Frank, you're aware of this.
Yeah.
We have a parenting crisis in the U.S. Folks, imagine if grandmama wasn't, or granddaddy too, if they weren't parented properly, and now mama wasn't parented properly, and now you are in a situation where you might be a parent to a child, and we bump up against some of that stubbornness. And so how do we lovingly and faithfully, caringly begin to, by the power of the indwelling Christ, the wisdom of the Holy Spirit, how do we begin to love into that? In fact, we got to be careful in terms of some illustrations because but just folk who are hurting, you get a phone call or a child who shares a situation, and it's like, oh, then again, not unique to Mississippi.
No, it happens
not at all. It's everywhere.
Sure.
But God has set the Pearson Foundation, just as he set the other entities of the body of Christ in places to be that salt, to be that light, to be that loving, caring component, to be willing to forbear. And not say, well, I tried, I'm out of here, but to really stick in there. Just like those stubborn issues of poor parenting, we got to stubbornly stay there and love and care for folk who are in some hard places.
And I think that's the important part right there, Jarvis, you just hit on, is to stubbornly be there.
Yes.
And the problems are stubborn too.
Oh, yeah.
But the answer, the answers have to be just as stubborn.
Oh, yes.
They have to outlast the problems. And I think so many times foundations get started and have good intention, but they aren't stubborn.
Yeah.
They aren't willing to fight it out in the trenches. Yeah. And that's basically where you find yourself. That's where you're doing your most work, is literally in down to the low income, the impoverished, the child that may not have the hand up that they need because of whatever reason. It happens everywhere. But you're filling some gaps.
Filling that gap, but not exclusively.
Right.
Because one of the things that we know is that the hurting is not just in that area.
No.
And so, which is what I think has really made Pearson so unique. Yeah, we started out with that as being our primary focus, but not our exclusive focus. So now with our programs, it's open to anybody.
and I wanted to make that for our audience that's watching. And there's more to it, because this is not a black and white issue.
Oh,
this
no.
isn't a black, a brown, a yellow, white. This is not a color issue. This is across the board with all people of faith, with all colors, ethnicities, wherever you come from. Everyone has these problems.
Oh, certainly.
Everyone.
And I think it's very important. I'm glad you make that point, because, when you were talking about low income, the image may be
immediately we're going to jump to this conclusion that it's specifically in our black population. No, it's not.
And
that is such a misunderstanding of the world. I love this word. I use it a lot, called obtuse. You're being obtuse. If you don't know what it is, go look it up. Obtuse. You don't understand what's going on around you. There are so many families, single moms, single dads, or children that don't have a mom, that for whatever reason cause those issues. White, black, Hispanic, doesn't matter. You're trying to stand in the gap for all of those people. Is that right?
And why? Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Everything that we do, and this is absolutely central. Everything that we do, there are good things. Helping with the in-school mentoring, the after-school tutoring, the Summer Learning Enrichment Institute day camp, the Youth Servant Leadership Program, the post-detention youth mentoring, the spring break youth retreat, the special event programming, the back-to-school bash. Everything that we do, good things, just like when the Lord would heal the blind, feed the hungry, heal the crippled. Those are good things. They weren't his end. They were means to an end. Yes, do the good things, but that is not the end. The end is Christ. We do those things because we want to see young people, poor, rich, wise.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't
From all
matter.
walks of life.
We want to see young and old come to know the wonder of a relationship with Jesus Christ. Nothing compares with that. And so that's why I do what I do. That is the only reason why. Yes, I do the good things. We should. That's what we are here as Christians, salt and light. We better be doing it.
Sure.
But it's not the end. It's by faith we believe that God is going to use that. And so we match with our good works, the good word. Yeah. And the Holy Spirit takes that good word and
I want to drive that part home, because with you mentioned Pearson being an acronym, but it's also the name of a community.
Yes.
You're touching more than just Pearson. Just so people understand.
Oh, yes, exactly.
Just so people understand. You're not just relegated down there to South Pearson Road, and Old Whitfield area. That's not, that may be where you actually are physically at, but it doesn't mean that's all you impact.
Which is what I said earlier.
Correct.
That's our location.
That's your location.
That's where our office is located.
This is City Hall. Yeah. This is our location. Doesn't mean I'm just impacting here.
The folk that we got coming in for our summer program, although primarily the Pearl area, because we have some Pearl resources that have invested in the summer program.
Sure.
But it's open. We get folk all over, baby, these 3 county areas.
But we need this.
Yes.
I think the last statistic I heard was over 70% of Pearl school kids were on some type of meal assistance.
They are. Yes.
That breaks my heart. To know that 70%? Here's what. How many kids in our school district? 2,000? 2,500, something like that?
It's a good number.
I think it's like 1,100 at the high school.
Yes.
There's that many in all the other schools. Yes. It's something like that. So you're going to tell me 70% of those kids are on some type of assistance program?
I won't call you into a math problem, but
please.
That's a good number of folk.
It is.
Yes.
That's a good number. That breaks my heart to know that. But here again, your foundation is providing in this area.
God has strategically placed us in this community. And what we have here, Frank, and I think it's great for folk to hear as we celebrate these 25 years, what has God been doing through the Pearson Foundation over these 25 years? He set a best practice model in in-school mentoring. For a very long time, our in-school mentoring, in fact, we helped get some in-school mentoring started over in Jackson.
Nice.
This Summer Learning Enrichment Institute Day Camp is a state of Mississippi best practice model coming out of Pearl. Because of the great partnership with the city government, great partnership with the Pearl School District, and doing the kind of the out-of-the-box kind of things. Not well, we never did that before, to let's try that. That is a great possibility, and we're seeing the great possibilities.
So you mentioned earlier before we started filming about our leadership in the school.
Oh,
and how you're working with
well, leadership is so key. I work with leaders all over the country, actually around the world, especially those almost 17 years with the Mission America Coalition and some of the out of the country. But I'm talking about some of course, a good number of them were top evangelical leadership. We work with denominational leaders, church leaders, authors, personalities.
Sure.
Leadership is key. When God is ready to do something, He calls a leader. Look at Scripture. Just go there. And generally, when you are trying to run an organization, you call a leader. Leadership is key. Governmental leadership is key. One of the powers of government, I often remind leaders when I go into cities, I say to leaders, one thing you may have laws and so forth, but you have the ability to convene. I remember sharing that with our dear mayor.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I said, and he has been very much involved in using his convening power to bring folk who would otherwise maybe not come together. No issues, it's just that they're doing their little thing. And so how do we bring all of these players together, which is what I was doing with building citywide coalitions in over 400 cities across the U.S., is how do you bring those individuals together and they begin to talk about the assets that are in the community and how can we change. So what we're doing here in Pearl with the City of Pearl and the Pearl Public School District and the Pearson Foundation and some others who make up, a part of the city and the community or in the chamber and so forth, is that we are just wisely serving better together for improving on every life possible in Pearl, in Rankin County, and hopefully would be an inspiration. In fact, not hopefully, is an inspiration to the other parts of Mississippi and maybe the nation. So we're in a good place because God is doing a good thing, and I just rejoice in it. And I think folk in Pearl particularly ought to really be join us in rejoicing.
Yes.
It's nothing about us. Let me make sure I say this. He placed us in a particular place. He placed a leader in a particular place. He placed a leader in this particular place. It's all of God. God is placing folk here, and we are benefiting from the goodness and the mercy of God and the giving grace that we might walk before Him in humility, in purity, in faith, and in love. And so as leaders, that's what you need. If you're going to be at a table, you got to make sure you're coming in with some qualities that won't grieve the Holy Spirit. that'll allow the Lord to really kind of bless and work in your lives. And we got that here. We got some, for the first time in my time here, and there's no reflection on anything other than when God is ready to move, he moves, that we are just seeing in the last 8 years some really meaningful breakthroughs. We are in a good place because of the goodness of God. And I want to see us continue. Pearson wants to continue to ride that wave of God's goodness and faithfulness from 25 years. And if he tarries another 25 years, Frank, and you and I just be just as young and, well,
I might.
Okay. Well, Caleb said,
I might be.
Remember when Caleb goes to Joshua and said, "Hey, I'm just as ready.
Yeah.
I'm believing God." And so, as long as we are trusting,
long as we are, yes. And I'm a firm advocate. I've said this. Our audience will know this. I've said this plenty. That God puts you where He wants you, when He wants you there. Yeah. And the other part of that is you don't have to know why.
Oh, yes.
That is not a requirement of yours. You don't have to know why you're there. If you're just paying attention and listening, you will learn why you're there over time. Or He'll tell you straight up, or you may never know. But none of that matters. The why, the how, it doesn't matter. He puts you where He wants you. Go do what He asks you to do. Don't worry about anything else. The rest of it takes care of itself. I know that sounds crazy, but try it sometime and see what I'm telling you is not true. So like on the Pearson Foundation, you mentioned the summer program. So that's coming up.
Oh yeah,
that's
in fact we're doing registration now. It's open to any Pearl resident who has a kid in Pearl Public School.
Pearl residents?
It is not exclusively Pearl residents. They get priority.
They get priority.
I mean, I do mean it seriously. Someone reached out to us from.
Like Brandon, Florence, Richland, our neighbor.
When they reach out to us, and Jackson and Clinton, yes.
Sure.
When they reach out to us, we tell them, yes, you can register, you can be involved in the program, but you have to understand that Pearl residents get first priority, and that is it in a nutshell.
And this is it right here.
Well, that's one of the
Pearson came.
Well, that's one of our efforts. We need another van, and so we are in the process. But the actual brochure for the summer camp is the promotion. That's the summer camp one. But in order for folk to get there out of some parts of Pearl, because parents are working, Frank, and we're starting at 7:30 in the morning. And some kids really want to be with us, but mom or dad is gone, and they just going to leave them in the house. And so if we can get to them, that's one of the aspects. Not everybody. Now, we don't go and pick up everybody, but there's certain neighborhoods and areas around Pearl where it makes sense for us to go in with the parents signing off on permissions and everything to pick them up. And so the old 23-year-old van is beginning to clunk along, so we don't want to be on the side of the road and have to have the Pearl police to push us out of the street in the summer. So the first brochure was our effort to get a new van. This right here is the encouragement towards every person. Now we have limited space, so obviously we can't take 2,000.
How many can you take?
This year we're going from 150 last summer to 200 max.
Okay.
This summer, and that is it. And I need to go ahead and say it. We are already over half, if not well over half the way. So there aren't that many.
So the waiting list is coming up. If you don't go ahead and get signed up,
well, if they don't, and also we're gonna shut it down. The waiting list will probably just be waiting there forever and ever because generally when folk get into the program, remember almost 6 weeks, 10 hours. Potentially, depending on when the child is brought in, 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. You got breakfast, you got lunch, you got some of the most outrageous recreation and sports activities. I mean, from archery, adventure, to everyone's it. We introduced over 100 kids to chess last year. Introduced over 100 to pickleball last year. We're going to be bringing those to chess. We're bringing those back. And if you were to go to our website, you can kind of see some of those photos. Oh wow! And found out that wow, I was amazed at the number of girls who were interested in the chess. So there's just some neat things for the summer. So I would encourage you, mom, dad, grandmom out there, uncle, aunt, if you saw it. Tell someone, go ahead and register. Now, we use the term free because it is honestly free. When you say, wait, if you're paying $125, that basically just holds your spot. You go find a place to put your child for that amount of time every day. We also didn't want folk signing up and blocking someone who really wants to be in the program, and they just want to drop their kid off for a week, and then you, in essence, almost blocked someone because we don't generally bring students in once we've started.
Yep. So once the program starts, you're closed.
That's it, and we just kind of if anyone has to get out, they get out.
So who's the staff? Tell me about the staff.
Oh, thank you, staff. We rely heavily on volunteers. We have a young man who came through our program. He's a Pearl grad. He ran track. Antonio Mack as our program facilitator. He is also, he graduated from Bible College over in Greenville, South Carolina, but he is also at Jackson State as a student because a really neat thing just happened. He just formed a campus ministry. Only students can do campus ministries, and so the campus ministry is called Pearson Vibe.
No kidding.
It came out of we started a college Bible study on Sundays, and because we get so many JSU student volunteers, we get some MC, we get some Belhaven, and we haven't gotten the kind of Hines that we hope to get. But those students, so we wanted to do something where they're coming and helping with tutoring and mentoring, or in school, or even working on the summer, because I'm talking about, where does the staff come from? They're coming to get community service hours, and so they are summer workers. And we started to study. Out of that study came this idea of a campus ministry. And so that's a really neat extension affiliated with us, but of course student-run organization at Jackson State University. We hire, out of some of the funding that we get from one of our partners, the city, we bring on some contract workers who help with the academic component. Now, the way our schedule runs, the first couple of hours in the morning every day, it's kind of more academic. It's different for different grade levels. Reading, sight words, math, kind of the STEM pieces, and then the recreation. Healthy Me is another initiative that has attracted a lot of attention. It's basically trying to dispense or counter the myth, not a myth, the fact that Mississippi is a quote, fat state, and diabetes is very much highly prevalent. And how do you counteract that? Well, healthy living. How can I make you a healthy me, or me a healthy me, or you a healthy me in that regards? And so that's where the community garden that we're doing pilot with the city, with Rankin County. We're starting a pilot city garden because of vegetable garden. So from that vegetable garden, we will be able to, some of these other plots around Pearl, working with residents, have some good old organic, fresh vegetables that, and our kids helping to plant those and, weed them and
Wait a minute, they were not going to be sitting behind a gaming console?
Yeah, at least for maybe 20, 30 minutes.
We're not going to sit behind a gaming console and waste our life sitting behind a TV?
Thank God.
Really?
No. So just think how holistic.
Yes.
Think how long term. We've been doing our summer program, and back to the staffing. So we got a number of college volunteers. We get high school volunteers. For example, I'll be going to the Key Club this week and talking with some of those students about how they can come. We some of the other organizations, and of course some contract workers paid, and then those of us, and then just some folk the church is sent over. We have a great relationship with, for example, with Fuge, called MFuge in Mississippi. It's part of Southern Baptist, and we have groups that come in for 3 weeks, half a days, 3 days a week. Been very helpful in kind of getting out there, arts and crafts, almost like they come in and join our program. They're not coming with their program.
Sure.
Support our program around kind of a VBS kind of a theme. Some fun games, activities, Bible lessons, just a good experience. And it takes the staff load. Generally when they come, we would have completed 1 week into the 5 weeks. And so it's a good relief in the afternoon for all of us to have another team to come in.
Oh, sure.
And so anyway, and by giving you those details, it's kind of give a person a good feel of, oh, that's how this thing works. We are not out there chasing every dollar. When I started this thing, I just said to the board, I said, we're going to trust the Lord to provide. And we're going to trust him to provide through first his people who are sitting on pews, his people who are sitting in cubicles, on couches, his people. Others, yes, he's brought others, but his people, and we have seen that. People, remember Pearson, our acronym, is people, God's people, those who know, love, and worship God. Not exclusively though, but people, employing available resources to strengthen our neighborhood through a prayer, care, share lifestyle approach. And it's changing Pearl. It has changed Pearl.
It has.
Because of God working through it.
You know, I've told our mayor plenty of times, he's now the second mayor I've worked for, but I have told him plenty of times that, you know, God has his hand on this city. It's evident when you look around and you see all the people that are involved in the community and what's going on. And I guarantee you, people sitting out there that are watching this, you just learned something today. You probably had no idea what all the Pearson Foundation actually does and what's available to you and to help you. I mean, to get in touch with Pearson, how do we do it?
Pearson, hey, isn't that an interesting name? Pearson 39208, and if you're in Pearl, you know what that means. That means that's the zip code that covers Pearl, and so our website is pearson39208.org. That's Pearson, P with a Peter, P with a P, EARSON 39208.org. And honestly, go to the website. You can register for the summer program on the website. There's a place to give. There's a place to volunteer on the website. And and then you have a brochure. And then you can just scan that. I wonder if you can go up to the screen with your phone right now. I wonder would that work. Hey, folks, let's see if that works. Would you walk up to the phone? Go ahead. Walk up there with your phone and see if you can just go ahead.
It will work. We'll put it full screen for everyone, but it will work.
Okay.
You know, so that you can, you know, people that way that people can see how to get in touch with you multiple ways.
And I will mention on that brochure, you'll see, for example, one section where there's some students at the high school standing up with certificates. One of the things Pearson has been able to do over the years is that anybody that's been in our program in a meaningful way as a tutee being tutored, a mentee being mentored, or even, get this, even as a student, Pearl student, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade, volunteering, meaningful times, when they're ready to graduate, on their class day, we provide them a cash scholarship, basically. What have you done? What is it for? It's for us to want to blow wind in your sails. We want to appreciate you and celebrate you. And we call that our Founders and Honoree Scholarship. And so our fall event, we're celebrating a big gala. We normally have what we call Honoring Our Heroes reception and raffle in September. This year, we're celebrating our 25th anniversary, and so same thing. Some neat people that we're going to be honoring. Got to save that for the next show, okay? As we get closer in the fall. And I mean, really, some neat people who will be, and we already honored some fantastic folk over the years. But that's coming up. Honoring Our Heroes reception and raffle, celebrating our 25th anniversary. That also funds the scholarship and funds some of the programming that we provide. No student who gets involved in our in-school mentoring has ever paid. No student who's in our after-school tutoring and mentoring has ever paid. No student has been, yes, and so God, we wanted to make it accessible. And there are parents who realize, oh, this costs something. And they generously and willingly,
Sure.
offer it. And there are others who,
Right.
like to enjoy the fish and the loaves for nothing.
Sure, there are, but I mean, you're investing in our
Yes.
children, which is investing in our future.
Yes.
And I applaud you for your efforts and thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for what you're doing.
Well, thank God.
Yes, but thank you for listening
Yes.
and taking that leap of faith and saying, yeah, I'm going to do this.
Well, it's cool to be able to. I mean, we're partnering together right now.
Sure.
I mean, this is kingdom community collaboration.
We call it kingdom building.
Yeah, this is what we're doing.
That's
and,
it.
I live here. I want the best for those who are here in Pearl. Not just Pearl, but obviously this is where I am. So for Pearl, yes, I want the best for Pearl. I want to fight for that, and I want to fight for that which is right and just, because that's who our God is. He's God of righteousness and justice, and those who are going to be with Him in His heaven forever are going to be people of righteousness and justice. That's
Correct.
the only way, and it's because they've come to know the one who is right and just, our Lord Jesus Christ. Nothing better than that, folk. Nothing.
I can't end it any better than that way. That sums it up right there. Thank you, Jarvis.
Thank you, Ray.
I appreciate you coming in and telling us a little bit about Pearson Foundation.
Thank you.
And what all you do, what all you touch, and congratulations on 25 years. If you can, go out there to his website, Facebook, click on those links, donate, help if you can. They need that new bus.
Yes.
They do indeed. They need it. So jump on out there and
we're almost there. And when I say almost, we're kind of a
yes,
third of the way there. We got some individuals already given, but
you're getting there.
buses from 23 years ago
Oh,
to
come on.
now, I couldn't believe.
They've gone up a little bit.
A little bit is 3 times the price. 3 times. Okay.
But there's some people out there that have 3 times the income they had from 23 years ago.
Yes.
So the Lord blesses those who turn around and do good with it. So
Amen.
I expect you guys to get on board, every last one of you. Thank you, Jarvis.
Thank you, Frank.
Appreciate it. All right, so when we come back, we're going to talk about a little bit about what's going on this week in Pearl. So don't run off. We'll be right back.
Here in Pearl, we have Trustmark Park. It seats 8,500 people. It's a great venue that we have here locally. You can catch a baseball game. We have a new team, the Mississippi Mud Monsters, so we're so excited about that. And Trustmark Park, the stadium's been fully renovated. And adjacent to that, we have Bass Pro Shop, as well as the Mississippi outlets that people can come shop and enjoy and have a great time. So it's a good place to come. It's a destination spot for our city. We did a $12 million renovation to our Parks and Rec several years ago, and what we were missing was another key area for our children to come and just be able to hang out and have fun, but also have some playground equipment that was really cutting edge. I've always thought if you can get your community together, then you can have a stronger sense of community. And I think that's what Main Street brings to the table for us. And even though we're a post-World War II city and our architectural doesn't signify a downtown, we're trying to have an area that we create that people can come together and have a sense of community.
Hi, folks. Welcome back into This Week in Pearl, where we just had a fantastic conversation with those distinguished gentlemen about what's passed in both chambers and headed off to the governor's office. A lot of good stuff that's coming out of our legislature this year. I'm looking forward to what's left. There's a lot of talk and debate still on PERS and on teacher pay raises and some of those things, as well as other things that are happening in the state. So pay attention right here as we'll bring all of that to you as it shakes out. All right, so what's going on? Well, Easter's in 3 weeks, if you can believe it. 3 weeks from now will be Easter. I mean, where's time go? It's flying. So what does that mean? Well, it's the mayor's Easter egg hunt on April the 4th. That's a Saturday morning. There's different age groups for this, so you want to definitely check out our cityofpearl.com news page or go to our social media pages and actually check that out there where you can see the different times for the different ages. It's a fun event, always well done every year, and lots of turnout. So definitely come out April the 4th for the mayor's Easter egg hunt. also going on in April, coming up, is Pearl Day. And it'll start out at the park at 9 a.m. There'll be lots of festivities out there for kids, vendors, petting zoo, all kind of stuff, live entertainment. That runs all day until 4:30. Then make your way over to Trustmark Park, because at 5:30 the gates will open. And Hinder will take the stage at 7, and then multi-platinum artist Daughtry will start at 8:45. It's going to be a great, fantastic day, as well as a fantastic concert that night. And here's the best part. It's free. Costs nothing. Make sure and bring your lawn chairs with you, because there are no chairs out in the parking lot, and it will be a clear bag policy enforced. So I've enjoyed bringing this show to you today. Looking forward to what's coming out of the legislature, and especially what's coming up in April. So until next time, I'll see you later. Y'all have a great week.